to another episode of Hops Geek News. We are a podcast that talks about comic books, movies, TV shows, while we drink a nice beer of the week. I am Matt, alongside me is Lauren, and today we are going to be talking about the history of Comic-Cons as we get ready to go run some press for FanX Salt Lake City here September 22nd through the 24th. We figured we'd dive into the history of Comic-Cons, talk about our favorite Comic-Con experiences, and just generally get hyped. So that said, first things first, please, by all means, go ahead, subscribe to us. If you found us, awesome. You know how to already. If you don't know where we are, you somehow got here, go ahead, go look for Hops News on all of your favorite podcasting platforms. Go search us at Hops Geek News on any social media platform. You can follow the links that way. That gives you the links to our Patreon, to our TikToks, our Instagrams, Twitter, our website, all sorts of good things that we are doing. And if you want to, come join the Patreon. Next week, we are going to record a commentary track of Iron Man, start our MCU rewatch, which will only be available to our Patreons. And so shout out to our Patreons now. We have Riley, who is our latest addition to the movement. So thank you so much for joining us. But yeah, with that said, let's talk about what we are drinking. And I'm drinking as the dark matter wraith materialized. Eve drew her weapon and decided the Order of Combat. That's right. I'm drinking Bottle Logic Brewing's Order of Combat IPA straight out of Bottle Logic Brewing Company in Anaheim, California. A fantastic place that I got to go to last week when I was out there. Really good IPA. It's a killer West Coast IPA, they said. That comes in at 7.2%. 75 IBUs, pairs well with pork vindaloo, whatever that means. I don't know. I'm not pairing this shit with pork. I'm pairing it with whatever I feel like, of course. And yeah, really great brewery. Cool place that I got to go to last week when I was in Anaheim. So Lauren, what are you drinking?
So I was hoping I had a Bottle Logic beer in my fridge, but I could not find any. My huge stash of like bombers has
so
really
you're saying
taken
I got to
a hit.
send you a couple. All right. I got you.
But yeah, Bottle Logic is great. I got to visit there when I did Disneyland, and I've had a couple of their bomber stouts as well, and everything I've had from them has been awesome. But so what I am drinking is actually a little themed with what I have been reading or watching. So this is Prison Pals Flash. And you can see the can, and I'll post it on Instagram. It doesn't look like it is anything Flash related. However, it's part of their smoothie series that also included Batman. And on the back, it says, let's flash forward to how delicious this tangerine and guana banana smoothie style beer is. Expect a mouthful of citrus and sweetness that'll charge you up to make you feel like a superhero. And it is delicious. It is a lovely, it tastes like juice though. It's fantastic. It's 5%. It's low on the sourness because I do not love when it's overly puckery sour. But a lot of people have asked, like, and I even thought this myself, like, was this like some guys that were in prison and then they decided to start a brewery, and when they got out, they started a brewery and they're prison pals? And so I asked them when I was at the brewery, which is in South Florida, and they're like, no, and it says it on the can too. Taste freedom, escape your prison. So the prison is like macro light beer, I guess. It's shitty beer. So they want you to escape shitty beer, the prison of shitty beer, and taste freedom.
You were straight up like, yo, did you do hard time or what? Were you brewing like prison beer in your toilet? How did this get started? And they're
well,
like,
it wasn't
no,
the owner.
What?
We were talking to the beer tender, and the beer tender was very young. I don't even think he was 21. Very sweet.
Don't
and
you have to be
so
21
like,
to work at a place like this?
You only have to be 18 to serve beer. I think he was like the owner's kid or something. But we're just like, oh, where'd you get the name? And honestly, I genuinely like asking that about all the breweries. Like, where did you get the name? The best is 1010 Brewing. They're on 1010 Virginia. And so they literally just named the brewery after the address.
Hey, you know what? Sometimes the simplest ways are the best things. Like, who needs something sophisticated? I don't know.
It's the only breweries whose address I know by heart.
Ooh, well, that makes sense. I am a little jealous. We have had some of those beers together, and Prison Pals make some really good brews. And
yeah, we had their Batman, which was weirdly in Nashville. I bought it in Nashville, and it is a brewery that just recently opened in Miami, but their tap room is in Oakland Park, which is in Broward County.
Interesting.
So
I will say the tap room for Bottle Logic was pretty. I was about to say Bottle Logic's was actually surprisingly small too. When I went in there, it was very small. It was in a nice little industrial park, and probably about 10 minutes from my hotel when I was out there. So it was a quick drive. I convinced Carrie to let me go, and I had to pick up In-N-Out on the way back, though. That was the only stipulation.
I've never had
but
In-N-Out. I've heard it's fantastic.
It's good. I mean, I don't think it's
better
worth.
than Waffle House?
Absolutely not. Good God, no. No. First and foremost, at Waffle House, like you don't have to fight a crowd of people to get into the door. In-N-Out is good. I think it might be slightly a little overrated, though. Like I'm going to go ahead and say that they have toasted buns, which are really good. Their burgers are good, but I'm telling you right up, like Five Guys has better French fries. I know it's all cooked differently and all this other stuff, but no, it's good, especially when you're drunk at 2 a.m. if you're out in Vegas or something.
What isn't?
It's it doesn't touch anything to Waffle House, first of all. So
I feel like anything, not anything, but for the most part, just about anything that you're waiting in a line for that's overhyped at this point is overhyped, because there's just so many places that make so many good things, whether it's food, beer, or anything else. Well, it's like there's so much competition.
The line to go through the drive-through was obviously like way out into the street in the traffic, and then like the line was out the door.
Like
so
Chick-fil-A.
I waited like 20 minutes. Although Chick-fil-A has a system down. In-N-Out needs to adopt Chick-fil-A's drive-through.
They should send some of those teenagers over there.
My pleasure. Yeah, like get some of those kids out there. Like get the Jesus kids out there. Maybe throw a couple Bibles at them. I don't know, but if they adopted their system, it'd go way faster. And I don't know, it's decent. So before we go into a little bit of Disney and talk about that, what have you been reading and watching since your beer has kind of correlated with the two?
So I think last time we talked about this, I had said I had started Smallville for the first time ever, and I was doing the podcast. Well, then, of course, second week of school, my son brings home the back to school germs and gave them to me. So I was like, fuck it. And I am now like binging the crap out of that show. But it's such an easy show to just put on the background and still be able to pay attention. So I am just like flying through it. I'm already on season 4. Jensen Ackles just showed up. But it's really funny how they've done it. Like some of the episodes are absolute cheese. Some of the episodes are very entertaining, and some are boring and some are fantastic. The soundtrack is awesome because it started in 2001. So that's the year I graduated from high school. So I'm loving all of the songs that they're playing in all of it. But the DC Easter eggs are so funny and almost like just brushed over. So the Flash just showed up. So it's a speedster and he's really fast. He calls himself the Flash, but he's not actually the Flash, I guess. And so Clark finds him.
And this Bart?
Yes.
Yeah, so he's not the Flash that we know. He's Bart Allen.
But he has multiple IDs because the kid's stealing from people. And so he's going through his IDs and he's like, Wally West, Jay Garrick, Barry Allen, who are you really? So it's...
Oh, okay. I see. I've never seen the show, so...
Right. Yeah. So it's kind of funny to see these little Easter eggs and how they kind of deal with all of it. And then at the end of the episode, the Flash is like, we should start like a team or a league or something.
My God. So I will say I have seen bits and pieces. More importantly, like wait until you get to Aquaman and then you get to
Aquaman
Green Arrow.
shows up in this? Holy shit.
Oh, yeah.
I have to stop Googling things.
The later on in the series, like I've never seen it.
Yeah, he's in his senior year in high school.
Yeah, so it is funny. So just go ahead and watch, like look at the costume designs. It's everything about that show is so early 2000s.
We haven't had any superhero or villain costumes show up yet. Just the the clothing, which
they all come like late season. So when the show's getting ready to end, basically.
Right. That's kind of what I figured. I figured 4 years of high school, 4 years of college, and then 2 years of being Superman or whatever.
Well, no,
but
no.
I have Googled a few things, and I've had to yell at myself to stop Googling
you should stop.
things.
I will say I don't think you ever get the Superman suit.
I think you do. And the reason I think you do is because I was sending a text and I looked up GIF for Smallville and I saw him ripping a shirt open and it was S.
Well, maybe
it's
I'm
probably
wrong.
like the last 5 seconds of the last episode. Maybe,
it's probably, that's what I was thinking. Like, I'm pretty sure at the very end of the series, they show him like rip it open and then there you go. But
right. But I already Googled like, does Lana ever know?
Well, yeah, I was going to say like the whole thing's based around him and Lana and all the other.
But they never get together. About. It's such a tease, and that's so annoying.
It is, especially when you have 10 seasons of a show.
Right, but Lana in Superman and Lois still doesn't know. So I wonder, does she know in the comics ever?
Well, Lois Lane.
No, Lana. I
Oh,
know
I don't
Lois
remember.
knows.
That's why I was confused. I was like, oh, I don't know. I honestly, I don't remember.
So Lois did just show up, but what was another one? So Christopher Reeve shows up. So he had a cameo, and then there's a woman who's working for Christopher Reeve that comes to help Clark, and she makes a comment about how her and Christopher Reeve had like a relationship, but that was another lifetime ago, and it's the Lois that was Christopher Reeve's Lois.
Oh, that's
So
cool.
I like when they,
Okay.
that's fun, and you see that in the
All right.
Arrowverse and everything.
That's pretty cool. Okay, that's pretty rad.
But yeah,
What
I'll be
else
done
did
with
you?
the show
I
in
know
like
you
2
watched
weeks.
a couple other things. What else did you watch?
So we introduced the 10-year-old to Back to the Future. So I watched Back to the Future 1 and 2. And I was cracking up laughing at all the phone booths in 2015. I have not watched that movie since 2015 or since before 2015. So that was fun to watch it.
It's been a long time since I've watched these movies.
Oh my
so
gosh.
it's actually funny. I didn't ever realize that, but yeah, the phone booths, that's kind of crazy.
And they only have one phone line at the house.
They never really planned. It's funny watching old 80s, early 90s futuristic versions because it's all 2015, 2020 and the things that they show. And you're like, oh, yeah, we're totally going to have those things. And then in reality, it's just like, nope, we're just preparing for the climate wars.
Yeah. Well, it's like they have fingerprints to open their door, but they only have one house line. Like, it's like they have their phones in their glasses, but then they're like, Dad, the call's for you. It's like, how do you know that? You only just, and then he gets all the faxes come in. You're fired. Right. But it was fun. And there's so many good one-liners in that movie too. I was texting with some other friends, like Doc Brown was giving me like Castiel vibes, like how he described the school dance was like some rhythmic event or something. I don't know, but what does he say? Like, I actually tweeted it, like, when this car hits 88 miles per hour, you're going to see some shit. These movies are amazing. God. And then my husband looked at me. He's like, I'm really, he's like, I wish they hadn't gotten rid of the ride because I'd love to go take her on the ride now, but they got rid of it years ago.
That's right. They did.
Yeah, it's a Simpsons.
Look, Back to the Future is not as cool anymore. All right, Grandma? The future is now old, man. I haven't watched too much. I will say that I do know what happens this week. She-Hulk, getting to watch Jen Walters drop that ass low, ma. Hell yeah.
Oh, I did watch that.
She-Hulk. What's up, girl? Give me a call anytime. Throw me around a little bit. I don't care. But
it was good. I'm enjoying it.
I haven't watched the rest of the show yet. I will catch up. I'm saying I just haven't caught the latest episode as when we're recording this. I'm also getting ready to watch Rings of Power premiere here soon. But I watched Top Gun Maverick again. That such I cannot gush about this movie enough. Top Gun Maverick is peak cinema. There is nothing to it. It's, hey, Top Gun's back. There's our mission. There's no crazy deep subplot. There's nothing crazy deep to it. It's emotional while also paying homage to the original film. And it's just so goddamn good. It is the movie of the year, and nothing is going to top this. There will not be another movie this year unless Clerks 3, which I'm very excited for, comes out of nowhere from the top rope because this movie is just peak cinema. It's true. And I read Predator issue 1 from Marvel Comics. That was pretty good. It takes place in the future. There's a girl, she's predator hunting basically. And so that's a very cool premise and something different. I recommend going to pick that up. Haven't really read too many comics. I thought I would while I was on the plane, but instead I actually didn't. And then we watched a little bit of Paper Girls, and then I finished watching Return of the King, the Ultimate Edition. And man, I forgot just how glorious those movies are. So I haven't really watched or done anything other than that. But let's talk about some Disney. I went to Disneyland last week, and my God, Avengers Campus. It's everything that I dreamed of. I literally every day, all 3 days, hung out at Hank Pym's kitchen at some point, and it's awesome. So California Adventures obviously is supposed to resemble California, blah, blah, blah. Well, they are able to have Avengers Campus there. And so when you walk into California Adventures, you go in and you're in the Hollywood section. You get past all that and you can either go straight towards Pacific Pier, go right towards Grizzly, and then right around the corner
Pixar
is
Pier?
Radiator. Yeah, Pixar Pier. Well, it's called like the Pacific Wharf or whatever it is. And then There's Cars Land, which Cars Land does not get enough credit.
Oh, it is adorable.
Was
Did you find
amazing.
the Toy Story toys?
No, I didn't think about, I totally forgot about that. Didn't even think about that. Cars Land was amazing. Like they were slowly transitioning everything to Halloween. So you had Mater's Graveyard, whatever. So that was cool. All the cones were like spooky cones. And honestly, probably the best ride I rode in that park was the Radiator Springs ride. It was so much fun and unexpected. I didn't know anything about this ride going in. And you get in the car and there's 6 total people. And shout out to Charlie and his fiance Stephanie, because they got us there for the fast pass the first day, which is how we got to do it the first day. So you just look like you're just driving through the canyon or whatever. And then all of a sudden you pull up to another and you race another group of people, and it's very random. It's just like a random race. And we won both times, which Oliver was super stoked about, but it goes up and down. It was such a fantastic ride. But Avengers Campus, though, you go there, you see the Spider-Man web slinger ride where, all the videos you probably saw of Spider-Man slinging himself off the roof. His little section's right there.
Did you get to see the big. Spider-Man fly?
I posted a video even, yes. So every couple times a day, Spider-Man comes out, like very rare. He comes out, I think I only saw him twice in the 3 days, and he comes out and a big crowd forms right there. And he comes out, does his whole thing. Like then he slings across, and then they have him crawl down the wall, and then he comes out and says hi to everybody and then leaves. You don't really get to take a picture with Spider-Man, which was pretty cool. But as you get in, you see like Doctor Strange's little Carmitage set up where they'll do like a live Doctor Strange show, which is really cool because the guy playing Doctor Strange, or one of them, the kids wanted to say hi, and he was like, yes, but the only requirement is you have to put a protection spell somewhere at your favorite part of the park. And so he taught them how to do the protection spell. And he was like, I just need your help protecting the Avengers Campus, all this stuff, which is really cool. Like the cast members are freaking cool people. Anytime the kids would go up and be like, I want a picture, they would be like, all right, I have to go on patrol or something. And they would grab the kid's hand and they'd walk through the park with them. And so it only really, like, I'm sure they did with other kids, but for some reason they seemed to like, didn't care about the other kids. They would just keep taking our kids' hands. So I was like, kind of thought it was badass. Oliver got to see Black Panther. Harper really wanted to see Black Widow. So they all got to see them. Ant-Man was there. I saw Cap. We saw Iron Man. Harper saw Thor. So the Guardians ride, you know how it's the old Tower of Terror, and you love this ride. This was like your ride. I'm okay with it. I don't really like rides like that very much. I'm kind of,
I don't either. I only like that. Like I don't like Tower of Terror.
Yeah. So the Guardians ride's cool because it's the collector. When you're going into it, it's all like the collector and all of his things, and you're breaking through. And then Rocket kind of was like, hey, we're breaking out of here. And so he brought Oliver, who's our 6-year-old, and he was kind of near like Carrie. Like we were actually in line, like all of us. Harper was on this ride. We were at the doors about to go, and Harper was like, I have to go to the bathroom. It can't wait. So the girl gave us a pass to skip to the front of the line again. And she was like, you guys can ride the ride. They can leave, but here's, a pass for 6 people again. So me, nice. Charlie, his fiance, and Oliver were like, all right, well, we're going to stay and ride the ride. We'll meet up with you, and then we can hop back in line and I'll do it again. Well, first of all, good thing, because Harper would have shit her pants on this ride. She had an emergency poop, first of all, my 3-year-old. Second of all, there is not a chance in hell my 3-year-old would have survived that ride without dying. And I say that like not physically, but like metaphorically. She would have her spirit would have left her little body, because the way you drop and you go up and you drop and you're leaving your seat and stuff. Oliver, the first time, he loved it. He thought it was cool. So we did it again. Me, him, and Charlie did it, and Carrie. We went up and did it again so Carrie could do the ride. And then all of a sudden, as we're sitting on the ride, he starts freaking out. Like he does not want to do this. And we're like, well, it's too late, dude. We're doing this thing. This dude was like crying, bawling his eyes out. The picture, I posted this too, like the picture of the day is me looking at him like, what is going on? And he just has this screaming look on his face, and he's just bawling his eyes. It was the greatest picture I got from Disney. I wish I did the Genie Pass that day to get that picture, because it was the greatest thing on earth. I loved it so much. It was the best. But yeah, other than that, Hank Pym's, that kitchen was sweet. Like the food was good. They either have your buns really small, your chicken breasts really big, your eggs really small. So like everything's either really big or really small to kind of go with the Ant-Man theme. And that was easily
That's cute.
my favorite
And they had
spot.
a decent beer selection there too, right?
They did. So they had like a beer float, which is really cool. They had beer infusion drinks. So like I had a Sierra Nevada, or no, I had it must have been Sierra Nevada. I had an IPA, but it was mixed with gin and some honey and stuff. So it was really good. But their beer selection was fantastic. And $12 for a beer. Yeah, it's expensive, but like it actually was reasonably more priced than I would have thought it would have been. I was thinking like, $15, but $12 for a beer. I'll do it, I guess, at a park. And then the cool thing is the patio faces where the Avengers do their shows. So we got to see Black Widow and Taskmaster and some cronies and Black Panther all fight. And we got to see like the Dora Milaje. They did their thing and a couple other shows. So it was really cool. Like we just sat there and just watched some of the shows go down, and it was some of the coolest thing ever.
Yeah, I've heard it's very small, but they do a good job of just filling it. And even when we went a few years ago, they didn't have Avengers Campus. They just had the Tower of Terror Guardians, which I guess I like that one more because I'm following the storyline. And while you're bouncing between floors, you're seeing the Guardians like fight. So it kept me more entertained. Whereas when I do Tower of Terror here, which I'm okay if I never do it again.
It's just a Twilight Zone.
It's just, you're just waiting for that next drop, and then you're going up really quick, and then you're just waiting for that next drop. And it's like, ugh. But when we were there, though, they did still have, because we were actually there for the Marvel race weekend, and they did have the characters out, and the Captain America was so unbelievably amazing. I might have told you the story. I never remember, but I've told the story many times because I loved it. So my daughter was 4 at the time. No, she had just turned 5. She had on sparkly jeans, flowers with little daisies on them. And then she had a Captain America jacket completely zipped up with the hoodie over. So she looked like Captain America. And so the PhotoPass person calls us over, and then Brielle wanted to go up there by herself and talk to Captain America. And the PhotoPass person called her a little boy, or she said something about referring to her as a boy. And Brielle goes, "Why did she think I was a boy?" And Captain America, this kid, without skipping a beat, "Well, sometimes as superheroes have to hide our true identity so that people don't realize who we are." It's like unfucking believable.
That was cool. Hesitate.
I mean, that they have certain things they're just ready for, but still, he was so amazing to her. We got the cutest little pictures of her saluting with her little cap jacket on.
That's amazing.
Yeah,
it is. Though I will say,
that's why we pay the overpriced
cast members
stuff
at Avengers Campus. I will always be a shill for that park based off just the character's experience alone, because they didn't have to do.
Sounds like that's what makes it.
Yeah, they didn't have to be like, "Yeah, I'm going on patrol, come do this and talk to the kids," because of course my 3-year-old just wanted to talk about, she got her princess, the Bippity Boppity. They did walk-ins that day we left the Snow White ride, and I was like, all right, let's pop into the Bippity Boppity. I know you wanted to do that. Well, then we saw people getting their hair done, and we were like, oh shit, it didn't open today. They're like, no, we're taking walk-ins, but we didn't advertise it. So we did it. So she just wanted to talk about that, and Elsa, to some of these heroes like Gamora, but they were all just phenomenal. And Black Panther even was like, hey, I've heard, to Oliver, he was like, I've heard you wanted to, join to be a superhero. Hey, I have an opening. Come join. I would like you to come train with us and stuff like that. And he lost his mind, and, they did the Wakanda salute and things like that. So it's small things. You don't have to do this stuff. Like, I'm going to be honest with you, Anna, of all the characters we met the trip, Anna at Disney or California, she was lackluster. She sucked. The actress playing
really
Anna,
good here.
Yeah, she must have had a bad day because she was just uninspiring and just very bland and did not want to be there. Everybody else was awesome. Like even Mickey Mouse and crew, we did the breakfast, and then when you first walk into the park, Mickey and them come out. Mickey Mouse grabs Harper's hand. They're skipping through the park, and then I was like, hey, thank you, I really appreciate it. And then they would shake your hand and stuff, and it was just the small interactions. That's what
Did you get
Disney.
Stopped by any stormtroopers with your lightsaber?
I didn't. So yes, Oliver was all about fighting Kylo Ren, and again, Rise of Resistance. We go on that ride, and halfway through, when you exit your little prison cell, we went back out, and this is when Harper's she's shaking. She's she's holding herself because she's shaking, and it
They
broke
make it
down.
very realistic.
Yeah. Well, the ride broke down, which is good because Harper probably wouldn't have made it much longer because she got terrified. But then she did it later that night, the whole thing, and she loved it. And the whole trip, they're like, I had to trick her. So I have my lightsaber. I was like, you see my lightsaber? This is so I can fight Kylo Ren. And then before we were standing in the hallway, and the best line of the weekend was her. She was standing there. It was all quiet. And they have us waiting out there. This is before we knew the ride was broken down. We had come out the prison cell. And all you hear is Harper go, are they going to kill us? Everybody starts busting out laughing. The characters even had a really hard time like keeping their composure and stuff. Because this one dude was deep in character and just it's dead silent. And then all of a sudden you just hear Harper like, are we going to die? And it was just hilarious. But yeah, I did build a lightsaber the first day, which I didn't. It was awesome. It was great. I was in line for the Smuggler's Run and had to leave it early to make my appointment. And so you have to pay beforehand, first of all.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they're like, you're not going in there at all until you give us $200.
I was kind of curious how they do it.
Dude, go directly to jail. Do not collect your money. Yeah.
They get your ass. They're like, nope, you're dropping your money right now. And then you go into the holding. But the card thing they give you, did they give you the card thing there too?
I got a button and they gave us no, I don't think, did we have a card? Well, yeah, you pick the one you want to have, right? Oh gosh. Damn
okay.
It.
So so I got the button. I still have the button. That thing is cool. But so they give you like that card that's like basically you have to hand to them as you're walking in just to show that
you don't get to keep it, but you get to keep the button.
It's cool though. You do keep the button. And when you walk in, you do pick your, the power. I picked power. Which one did you pick?
I picked justice. Justice.
See,
isn't that power and justice, or is that different? No, you went dark side.
No, I went full dark side, like
peace and justice. Side. I picked justice.
Yeah. And I I didn't realize how heavy the hilts were. The hilts are,
they're
they're pretty heavy. They're like 5 pounds or maybe a little less. I might be overestimating, but they got some weight to those bad boys. It was pretty cool.
And let you know.
I did get my things to, mount it behind me, but you go in there and you at the round table, you get to pick where I'm at the head of the table. So, and then
your
obviously
pictures
it's really
look
cool.
Exactly like mine. So I'm guessing it's the exact same thing.
It's gotta be, they come in, they give their speech, all that stuff. You start to build your lightsaber. They let you pick your kyber crystal. And I didn't know at this point what color I wanted to go with. I was still the whole day. I was like, what color do I do? What color do I do? And I had to just I panic picked. I almost wanted purple, but so you can pick purple, yellow, red, blue, or green. I should have picked purple, but I took red, which I don't have any regrets. No regrets.
See, I did the opposite. I knew I wanted green, but I panic picked my hilt.
I knew I wanted the power and control. You took peace and justice. You could do elemental nature and then protection and defense.
Like the protection and defense and elemental, like those are some pretty cool looking hilts. And I'll even post this. You can head to our Instagram if you want to see exactly what it is. Because I guess you can't pick and choose throughout. Like you pick one, but there's still multiple options for that hilt.
Come out there with multiple options, which part of me does wish I did go with the elemental nature just because it does look pretty cool. But again, I have zero regrets about it. All the hilts are badass.
Yeah.
And it's really cool. Yeah, you can't go wrong. So when you get to build this whole thing and you're setting it there, and then you get to put your lightsaber to connect it to the blade. And one of the coolest things is when they tell you to turn it on, and it's just like, it's so freaking badass when you turn it on. I got goosebumps. Like I teared up because it was like, this is my moment right here. This is amazing. And
no, it is emotional, and they make it emotional too, because you're not just paying for the lightsaber, you're paying for the experience. And like,
oh yeah,
I'm sure they did with you guys where they talk about what each color means. And one of the things I forgot when I went in there, I was picking green. Just honestly, it's my favorite color. I love green. And it was Ahsoka. She mentioned Ahsoka, that it was like Ahsoka's original color. And when I think Ahsoka, I think of 2 white lightsabers.
That makes sense.
That made me even happier, especially because I was wearing my Ahsoka ears when I did it.
Oh yes. It's cool. I took red just for the, I don't know. There's always been that power draw. It did. There's always that power draw.
Your lightsaber is crying every time you use it.
as I'm chopping down younglings. I got a couple younglings I want to chop down right now, yelling at each other in the living room. But yeah, it's I don't know. It's always just badass. The whole experience was just awesome. I can't speak enough about Disneyland. It was great. I know it's a lot smaller than Disney World, but all in all, we got to see the parade. We did the parade the first night, and then we left, didn't see the fireworks. But then the kids kept wanting to see the fireworks, so the second night we stayed, saw the fireworks, and then night 3 we left at like 7 just because we needed to pack, and we were pretty much cooked at that point. Like,
I mean, it's hard to do full days. Like, it's very rare that we
were
do a
there
full
like
Disney
13,
day.
14-hour days. Like the first day the kids did great.
Intense.
Yeah. Second day, Harper just was done. She was exhausted, and we put those kids through some hell, and they did pretty well. For us,
we probably average like 5 hours when we go. Sometimes we're only there for 2 hours.
Well, I mean, it's different because you guys live right next to it, obviously.
Right. It's intense. Well, we did do a full day on May the 4th because we went to Epcot and then we park hopped to Galaxy's Edge. But it's very rare, and it's usually because someone out of town is visiting.
Yeah.
Or we're drinking around the world. But let's go into some news.
Yeah, let's go into some news. We got some news today. So I just have a couple things real quick. First things first, Scream 6 has wrapped filming. The film will release in theaters on March 31st, 2023. No real clue. We just know that Neve Campbell's not back in it because they wouldn't pay her any money. So I'm really actually surprised. Yeah, I don't understand how you don't pay the star of the franchise, but whatever. And I'm surprised that they already finished filming. I feel like they just started like last month. So that was a pretty quick filming session. Next, we have Ben Kingsley is going to be returning as Trevor Slattery in the Disney Plus Wonder Man series, which I did an article on for Bam Smack Pow, kind of talking about this. But what that series is looking to do is kind of do a Hollywood spoof type thing, because in the comic books, he is a failed actor and stuntman. So it makes sense that they're going to have Trevor Slattery kind of come into the fold there a little bit. Aside from that, Beverly Hills Cop 4 is happening at Netflix with Taylor Page and Joseph Gordon-Levitt set to star alongside Eddie Murphy. It's going to be titled Beverly Hills Cop Axel Foley, and that actually has begun to film this past week, according to Deadline. And then, of course, final season of Stranger Things is going to have 8 episodes. So that's pretty badass. We know there's 8 episodes left to wrap this whole thing up. And I think they're getting ready to finish writing it, or they've at least begun. And aside from that, the Umbrella Academy showrunner, which Umbrella Academy will be ending after this next season, season 4, their showrunner, Steve Blackman, will develop the live action Horizon Zero Dawn series for Netflix, which is my favorite video game. I love that video game a ton. And last but not least, bearing the lead, Jeffrey Dean Morgan has been cast in season 4 of The Boys, which has begun filming. And that's all I have. What do you got?
That's some big news right there. Jeffrey Dean Morgan.
It is. He's everywhere. He's here. He's there. He's everywhere.
When they did season 2, they were doing like an after show, because remember that released in like 2020, so it was like COVID and everybody was born, so they were doing an after show and like they were appearing virtually, and he was one of the guests, and he's like, yeah man, I'll come on, I'll play whatever role. And
he seems like the coolest dude.
No, I'm excited to see, and I really do hope we get Jensen back. It'd be really cool to see something with the two of them in together, that they're not father and son, because they're only like 11-12 years difference in age. Yep. But he, played his dad. And I think that was because he did flashbacks, like the opening scene of Supernatural, Dean's 4. And so I think they were trying to cast somebody that they could make look younger and then make look older. But yeah, I'd love to see them together again. And he said he can't wait to get some tights on. So what do I have? I got some Netflix blockbuster series is coming to Netflix on November 3rd. Resident Evil, I guess you should have covered this one, was canceled after season 1.
Thank God. Oh man, how did I forget?
Is it trauma? You blocked it out? I didn't watch it.
I didn't finish it. It was so bad. So bad. How hard is it? You have like 12 video games to go off of. So how god dang hard is it to make it? Never mind. Never mind, folks.
You sure? This is a safe place.
I'm good. Oh, okay. I've been watching House of the Dragon, by the way. Have you been following that?
Me too.
It's actually not bad. It's a little slower, a lot less characters so far, and it's setting up a lot of good things. And I got to say, I'm actually enjoying the show. There are a couple moments where they reference the events of Game of Thrones to come, and I just have to eye roll because they talk about a Song of Fire and Ice in the long winter, and I'm just like yeah,
prophecies.
the 1 day long winter, you mean? Jesus Christ.
Right. I thought that too.
It's
but
not bad.
I have been enjoying it. And it was fun. Like the first one, they didn't have the opener, but the second one, when they had the opener, like hearing that song again.
Very surprised they kept the same song.
It gave me the feels. It made me feel like, oh, it's a new Game of Thrones episode. I'm ready to do this on a Sunday night. I haven't done this in a while. But it was creepy because it had like the blood pouring through because they're like, our blood is thick. It's thick with incest and recessive genes. That's not a good thing.
Yeah, that's fair. Anyways, back to your breaking news.
Matt Smith is killing it. And speaking of Matt Smith.
He's very creepy.
He is so creepy in this. And like, this is the first thing I've watched him in that wasn't Morbius or Doctor Who. And obviously he wasn't great in Morbius, but I'm enjoying him in this. I'm still figuring him out in this. Just watching him do somebody doggy style. It was
slimy.
Just like, that was
Doctor
very Who. This is so
Number
wrong.
11. What are you doing? That's not like what?
Go dip your fish sticks in custard. This is ridiculous. Okay. So
he was.
Doctor Who. Doctor Who's coming back in October, and we are going to be saying goodbye to number 13. So Jodie Whittaker will be, leaving us. Regenerating. I couldn't think of the word. I had a brain fart. You has finished wrapping up season 4. House of the Dragon has been renewed for season 2. This doesn't surprise me at all since like HBO was like breaking
Big surprise.
Down. Yeah. And probably like as soon as they realize that, they're like, renew the season 2.
Game of Thrones is all HBO has left at this point because, they've just absolutely massacred everything. And also another bit of breaking news. I forgot. I'm sorry. There is no DC fandom this year. They have canceled it. To the surprise of...
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. They have canceled DC fandom.
And that's what everybody was saying during like Comic-Con when we were like, even we were bashing them, but then defending them.
For fandom. No, there is no fandom.
Shit.
There is no DC.
Does that mean we're not getting another Superman movie? So Henry Cavill just happened to have COVID?
Heavy rumors are that Cavill and Affleck have signed long-term deals to reprise their roles, and that after Flash, it's going to reboot to where the BVS and Justice League events never happened. So Ben Affleck will be meeting Aquaman for the first time in the Aquaman movie and going from there, putting the team together. Again, I don't even know that I'll believe it if I'm seeing it on the screen play out in front of me at this point, but that's just the rumors. So they say.
I feel like when DC says reboot, it should be like in Princess Bride. Like you keep saying that. I don't think you know what that means. Like you're not doing it properly. But that's really a shame.
Trick in the book.
So speaking of, animated Batman Caped Crusader is no longer moving forward at HBO Max. They're just going to write it off.
Disney's actually been in talks to buy it, funny enough.
Well, Assembled Love and Thunder is coming to Disney Plus on September 8th, as well as Love and Thunder. And they're also doing the making of Obi-Wan is coming to Disney Plus on September 8th, and they're calling it A Jedi's Return. It is not a new show. It is just the making of. Oh. Glass Onion, a Knives Out mystery, releases December 23rd. The animated Harley Quinn has been renewed for season 4 on HBO Max. I've heard that's really good. You've said that's really good.
It is phenomenal. Very, very good.
So that's good. At least they're keeping that, knock on wood.
For now.
And my last piece of news is Paramount Plus and Showtime are joining forces into one streaming app, which is probably smart because both of them are the apps that you have for a month and then you cancel because they have nothing.
Yeah, I was going to say
offer.
There's like nothing really on them. I mean, I know you got Yellow Jackets and such, and Paramount I think has like the CW and all that, but aside from
CW, you can watch for free on the CW, can't you? Can you no longer do that?
I don't know. I don't watch anything on the CW.
Am I going to have to watch the Winchesters on my antenna?
Bust it out.
It's not bunny ears anymore. We watch the Super Bowl on the antenna. It's clear as can be. It's just like this little square thing that's thumbtacked behind our TV. And
I need to do that for football season so I can get CBS and Fox.
$10-15 and you get multiple, like the basic channels, and it comes in very clear.
All right. Well, guess I'm going to be doing that for football season then.
I honestly forget we have it a lot of times, but yeah, that's how I watch the Super Bowl.
All right.
I mean, you don't get like ESPN or anything, but
that's fine.
But yeah, we were trying to convince Ian to watch Yellow Jackets, and he's like, I don't have Showtime. We're like, nobody has
When
Showtime.
did
We all
Ian
had Showtime
become
for
old
Dexter.
and grouchy?
And then we just had it for Dexter, so then we happened to watch Yellow Jackets before we canceled Showtime.
Huh,
I think Paramount Plus, didn't they have like Boss Baby? No, that's Peacock.
Something like that, yeah.
I don't remember why we had Paramount Plus. Okay, I'm done with my news.
All right,
That's a wrap.
Let's go to our main topic. Let's talk about Comic-Cons, shall we? We are preparing to go to FanX Salt Lake City, where it is the third largest Comic-Con in North America. And we're excited. We're meeting up. We're going to be there for a few days. So if you happen to be listening to this and you're going, hey, come say hi. Hopefully we're going to have a lot of cool things. So, of course, everybody knows about San Diego Comic-Con. The San Diego Comic-Con convention is the one. That's Hall H. That's the one people go to. It is a massive, massive event. And their mission statement is actually the San Diego Comic-Con Convention, or Comic-Con International, is a California nonprofit public benefit corporation organized for charitable purposes and dedicated to creating the general public's awareness of and appreciation for comics and related popular art forms, including participation in and support of public presentations, conventions, exhibits, museums, and other public outreach activities which celebrate the historic and ongoing contribution of comic books to art and culture. The first ever Comic-Con took place in 1970 in the basement of a U.S. Grant Hotel and was actually started by three comic book creators who you might know a little bit: Sheldon Dorff, Richard Alf, and Ken Kruger. Later on, Jack Kirby, who actually, might have created these comic books you know of, Captain America, Fantastic Four, The Eternals, amongst others, actually advised not to limit the con to just comic books, but to include other fandoms as well. The first Comic-Con was called San Diego's Golden State Comic Mini-Con and lasted only one day, which the event's sole purpose was to gauge interest in this type of convention. It was a success, so a 3-day event was then held in August and was called San Diego Golden State Comic-Con. This 3-day event's guest of honor was actually Jack Kirby at this point.
There were just over 300 guests inside this basement with panels, guests, and vendors. In 1973, the name was changed to San Diego Comic-Con, and later it was changed to Comic-Con International. San Diego, before COVID, the con would actually get about 130,000 guests each year, and it was about 20% less this past year, but I'm sure that will probably go up. I'm guessing it was a mix of people concerned about COVID and a mix of people who refused to wear masks. Because
they
it was
actually enforced mask
mandatory.
wear this year, yeah.
Yeah. The first masquerade ball, which is basically everybody cosplaying, was in 1974. So it was interesting to see how they did this, because this is still how we do cons.
Yeah, funny enough.
The coolest fun fact I came across when I was looking into this was in 1976, Lucasfilm sent representatives to Comic-Con to talk about their new film, Star Wars. It was a full year before the movie came out. And it was the first Hollywood panel that they did. And they said there was really only a handful of people in there. And they showed slides from the movie.
Wow. Can you imagine? That would be so cool to be like, yeah, I was one of 5 people that showed up to the very first, Star Wars panel ever.
Yeah. I wonder how many people were actually in there, but it is crazy.
Or any of them still that would be so cool just to say that you were that man. Could you even imagine?
No, I can't imagine being at the beginning of anything like that is now just so universally global. I mean, think at that point in 76, Disney was already well known. Disney was, in California and Florida, and
right.
To think oh, this is one day going to be worlds at both of these theme parks.
You have no way of knowing. Oh man.
And multiple TV shows and movies and comic books.
The first convention started being hosted at the convention center in the 90s and has been there every year since then. X-Men 2000 is believed to have been a turning point for San Diego Comic-Con, which has actually turned it into the big event that has become today. In 2004, Hall H opened up for the first time, which is a 6,500-seat auditorium. Guests camp out for days on end just to get into this Hall H, because you get into Hall H on that Saturday, you're guaranteed to get DC and Marvel panels. But not only those two, you're getting a lot of other really, really great panels of people that are going to come in and do some really cool things. So Hall H became a Comic-Con special thanks to Twilight, funny enough. They were the first Hall H panel to have people waiting for a long amount of time, and people were very, very overenthused.
So in 2005, San Diego Comic-Con broke the 100,000 attendees mark for the very first time. And then they had Kevin Smith make a guest appearance at the cons, and he's been there since 1997. So in 2007, the Comic-Con organizers actually asked him to close out Comic-Con on Saturday nights in Hall H with an hour and a half long, quote, geek State of the Union address.
That is so freaking cool.
2008 was the first time the con actually sold out, and the convention center has actually gotten bigger and better solely to accommodate this con.
Random fun facts about Comic-Cons. So the first souvenir program cover was created by Jack Kirby himself. The eye logo was designed by Richard Bruning, and the entire convention staff works the San Diego Comic-Con, and there's extra security that's brought in. In 1979, Comic-Con San Diego was darkened by a robbery when the treasurer was robbed. Somebody stole coupons of $12,000 worth. Because of that, the organizers asked help of all the attendees of the event, and so they helped by raising the money to pay out the debt, which is pretty cool. People, geeks coming together. In 2016, San Diego Comic-Con sold all of their 130,000 tickets in just 1 hour. I believe they go on sale in November, and I think I'm going to try and get tickets for next year. I'm going to try my hardest. We'll see. But that's bucket list. That's bucket list item right there, just to get to go.
Yeah, I think anybody who's listening to our podcast would probably feel the same way.
Oh, yeah.
So Comic-Con is one of the most profitable events for San Diego. More than half of attendees are from other cities or even other countries. So that's why this event, that is why in the event that happens for 4 days, around $170 million are made in the area.
Absolutely insane.
In 2015, here's a little bit of Salt Lake City one. They received 1,784 people dressed up like superheroes, which actually broke a Guinness World Record, which the Guinness World Records were created at the Guinness Brewery to settle barguments. In 2017, in Dubai's Comic-Con, which I thought it was just interesting that Dubai has a Comic-Con, street artists from all over created the biggest stencil graffiti and received a Guinness World Record for this creation. Stencil graffiti was created by the theme of comic books and covered 11 square meters of wall. In 2016, in China, 715 people came to the local con dressed as French housekeepers or maids. They said that they did not need all of those people to break a record, but they did, and they did break a record.
That is crazy.
I never thought of these cons as being something that it's like, we're going to go, break this Guinness World Record here. But I guess that clearly is a thing. It makes sense.
We talked to Dustin Nelson, and the most random Guinness record that he was a part of breaking and he organized was the longest continuous applause. So it's just those fun. I love fun facts like that because it's so crazy. That just sounds
annoying.
Well, yeah, it's so crazy. It's so much fun to just see stuff like that. So San Diego's,
that always drives me nuts. So when people are still clapping and you're like, no, I want to hear what the person you're clapping for has to say.
Right? Or they're clapping at a movie. It's just like, please stop. So San Diego is the biggest Comic-Con in the United States, while New York is the biggest one that's on the East Coast, of which New York Comic-Con's getting ready to come up soon. It's Comic-Con season. We have seasons. So wedding season has their own thing. Comic-Cons have their own seasons, right? So New York Comic-Con actually brings more than $100 million to the local economy. Even relatively smaller conventions, such as the Comic-Con in Phoenix, can make a huge economic impact. This convention brings in more than $5 million each year. It's really cool because you get a congregation of nerds. Like the Boston Comic-Con FanX out there just happened. July was San Diego Comic-Con. Salt Lake City's is happening. I think Seattle has one coming up soon. New York Comic-Con's about to pop off. So again, it's Comic-Con season. It's great. Attendance wise, the cons are a bit all over the place right now thanks to COVID. We're starting to come back. We aren't. It's kind of crazy. So the attendance numbers for the big cons from the last few years. In 2019, New York Comic-Con had 250,000 people. San Diego Comic-Con 2017 had 167,000. Denver 2019, 115,000. FanX Salt Lake in 2019, 110,000. And this one's actually been around since 2013. MegaCon Orlando 2022, 100,000. And Emerald City. Yes, it was. Emerald City in Seattle 2019, 98,000. 1,000. That is just crazy. So we're going to be packed with people, and it's going to be really awesome getting to meet and hopefully grow our fan base at FanX Salt Lake and just get to see and hopefully interview some folks.
So according to Comic Book Resources, these are 10 cons everyone should visit at least once. Wizard World in Chicago, MoCCA, M-O-C-C-A Fest in Manhattan. Now, this festival is for independent comics to showcase their artwork. Motor City Con in Michigan, WonderCon in San Diego, which is actually the sister con to San Diego Comic Con. Then you got Dragon Con in Atlanta.
That is a huge one, yeah.
A small press expo, which is similar to the MoCCA one, in that they focus on independent comic book creators, and they're associated with the Comic Book Legal Defense Fund, which provides legal and monetary assistance to artists, publishers, and retailers in legal jeopardy for exercising their First Amendment rights. And what's very interesting is retailers are not allowed at this con. And anybody who's been to... Go ahead.
I was just saying that was awesome.
Oh, I thought you said, and also. I was like, what also? Yeah, no, that is awesome. But the real retailers thing... I thought was crazy because a big part of cons is honestly shopping. There's so much shopping. Then there's Emerald City Con in Seattle, Heroes Con in Charlotte, North Carolina, New York Comic Con, and of course, San Diego Comic Con. And then I didn't finish that, so you can delete that. If you do want more San Diego Comic-Con, there is a Comic-Con museum in San Diego that is open daily from 10 to 6. Some of their current exhibits right now are Spider-Man, a Pac-Man arcade, and The Rocketeer. And in addition to the museum, they also have current special... I'm sorry. I'm like stumbling over my words, and that beer was only 5%.
Help me.
In addition to the special exhibits at the museum, they also do field trips, they have panels, they do book clubs, they do classes, and much more. So if you're in the area, even if there's not a con going on, I'd go check it out. It looked pretty cool. It's in the Balboa Park area, which they have other museums there as well. I actually went to a beer museum, or they had a beer exhibit at the museum there that was really cool. There's also a documentary from 2011 that's all about the history and fan experience of the San Diego Comic-Con, and it is titled Comic-Con, Episode 4, A Fan's Hope.
That's dope. See, I love that. That's so cool. Comic-Con. So I've actually been to the MegaCon. I've been there in 2016. My first Comic-Con, I'm trying to think, must have been Pensacon way back when I first got there. It was like 2013 or something like that. So that was really cool. It's a lot smaller. Now it's grown a lot bigger. But I've done the Raleigh, the Wizard World Raleigh. They put on a really great Comic-Con. Boston puts on a really great Comic-Con. I got to actually meet the voice of Finn from Adventure Time, and he signed the Adventure Time sword, which is really cool. And so I would probably say my favorite Comic-Con experience, I have a couple. It's kind of hard to pick. So one was my number one was probably when I met David Tennant when I was visiting my then girlfriend, soon be wife, up in Raleigh. We went to that Comic-Con, and I paid $450 to have David Tennant sign my hockey jersey, which is Doctor Who. And I've told this story a million times, but I get there and, he's signing it. And I was like, can I take a selfie with you? Being very naive. He was like, technically no, but if I happen to look up as you were taking it, they can't say no. Very nice dude. Such an amazing dude. I take this picture and I botch it completely. It's my face, like all up. It was just embarrassing, but that, and then another one was the Power Rangers. I saw them at Pensacon. And we shared a moment. They were at the very end. I stood up, and they stood up too, and they pointed me out in the crowd because I'm the tallest person in the crowd, of course. And I was like, they're like, you coming to the table? And I was like, I'm coming there right now. So we got to meet the Black Power Ranger and hang out with him for a few minutes, which is really cool. And then Carrie then tripped over Jeremy London's kid, which he was very not happy about. And I love that story for that reason. So those are some of my favorite moments. But I went as Waldo one year with my friend who did Waldo's Nemesis. We just went together like that in 2016 to MegaCon. And I actually sat at a Stan Lee panel. That was the last time I saw Stan Lee. And sitting on his panel, hearing him talk was just mind blowing at this point. And it was just something that I will always get to carry with me.
Yeah, we were at that one and we didn't. That was the biggest picture regret I have. We're like, oh my gosh, it's $100. That's so much. And now
I know at that point you're like $100
starting at $100,
which is hilarious because $100 is cheap, especially when you're talking Stan Lee pictures. If only we knew then what we know now.
Well, I think we kind of did. He was in rough shape then.
Yeah, of course. I mean, speaking of rough shape, Christopher Lloyd was there, doc, and he couldn't even formulate a sentence at this point. So I thought that man would have been passed away by now, but he's still out there killing it. Movies. So yeah, he's out there killing it. I don't know.
Nice. My daughter, when we were watching Back to the Future, and she's like, "How old is he in this movie?" And I'm like, "I don't know. He's still alive today." And just like, "How old is he today?"
I know the dude is just never gonna die.
Like I saw him in a movie. He's in a movie recently with Better Call Saul, Bob Odenkirk.
Oh,
he played his dad. I think my first time I went to MegaCon was 2015, maybe, and it was when Arrow was out, and we were like, well, let's go see John Barrowman.
Yeah.
And we were very shocked that John Barrowman was in the big room. And then John Barrowman comes out, and my friend and I, Ian and I, look at each other and we're like, he's gay? I had no idea. He's the most fabulous motherfucker ever.
Yeah.
And so John Barrowman's actually who got me into Doctor Who, because we're like, what's this show, Torchwood? He kept talking about Torchwood, and we didn't know what it was. And, I love him in Arrow. He's just so mean and evil. And, but he does a great job. And after seeing him in person, it makes you realize what a phenomenal actor he is, that he can pull that off and say some of the nasty, evil lines he does when that's clearly not at all who he is in any way, shape, or form. And so we watched Torchwood. And of course, once you watch Torchwood, you have to watch Doctor Who.
Right.
But yeah, he just kept making all these references. So I feel like in a way, he changed my life. And
like, son of a bitch, fine, I'm in.
And then when we were there in 2021, it was mask mandatory for everybody. And so we're looking at this guy buying these geek tikis, and we're like, damn, that guy has got a bubble butt. And we're like looking at him, and we're looking at how he walks, and we're like, And we see other people kind of standing a little back, taking pictures. It's John Barrowman. But he he had gone all gray on during COVID, let his hair go white. And he explained why he dyed it again during his panel. It was because he found a hair down there that was gray, and he freaked out and decided to dye his hair on his head back to brown.
That's ridiculous.
Of course, he told the story in a much more colorfully entertaining way. And he came out wearing a gorgeous TARDIS dress. Well, it's funny because my friend Erica came, and she's not into any of this. And he walks out with this TARDIS dress and these heels. And she's like, who the hell is this guy? Because she's never seen Arrow. She's never seen Doctor Who. Yeah, so it was fun. But so he was buying geek tikis right in front of us. And we just kind of stood at a distance and just stared while he bought these tiki cups.
That is awesome.
But I also, in 2021, we got to see Full House. And we were kind of like, oh, this will be fun. We'll see Bob Saget and Uncle Joey and Uncle Jesse. And we're really glad we did, because he passed away a few months after that.
Yeah. Dang. That's what I'm saying. One thing that I've learned is that at Comic-Cons, now, of course, this isn't applied to everybody. Everyone's just not going to drop dead, but take those chances, meet your heroes, meet those people. Yeah, you have to pay. And
well, for the panels, you don't, though.
Panels, you don't. So, if you're thinking about going to a panel, go to a panel, because you get, at the worst case, you get to sit there and really look. And it's like a free interview, but you're in the room, he's talking to you like this, or she, I'm just talking in general terms. They get to talk about their life, their creative experiences, things like that. And more often than not, if this is your hero or, something you really love, do it, because you never know when you're going to get to do it again, if ever.
Well, and as far as this stuff adds up quick, and everything nowadays adds up quick. Well, I should say, as soon as you're an adult, everything adds up quick. Yeah. But a lot of times too, I don't know how it is at other cons, and I guess we'll find out and get more experience from this. But at MegaCon, you can just stay in line and go up to the celebrity and talk to them. You don't have to pay for that. If you want something signed, if you want to take a selfie, you do need to do that. But as far as the professional photos, those are always ahead of time, are super expensive. But a lot of them, not all of them, but a lot of them will do like $20 or $40 right there for a selfie on your phone, which oftentimes is better.
I'd rather do that personally.
That was Arrowverse and Walking Dead, and it was a fundraiser for Pulse. And so it was like $20 to take pictures with them, and it all was going to a good cause. It was going to help the family members and their survivors of the Pulse shooting here in Orlando. And I met Diggle, and Diggle's like, here, give me your phone. And he took my phone, and he was holding the phone and making, he smiled nice, and then he starts making funny faces.
That's
so I
awesome.
have some
What?
like adorable pictures with Diggle. And like we were talking to Ross Marquand. I paid again $20 for a photo with him, and he was talking to me about shooting the walk. I mean, he would have kept talking. I cut off the conversation because there was a line and I felt bad. But like he was talking about, when he first started filming, he would have nightmares and now it doesn't bother him anymore. He might have said that because I said that and he was making me feel better. But he was just so sweet, and this was before Endgame, so otherwise I would have had a million more questions for him and probably would have kept talking.
A lot of these guys, they just want to be talked to, like just talk to them like human beings. More often than not with celebrities, we glamorize them. I get it. There's kind of, idolize, glamorize, things like that. Just talk to them like human beings. Approach them like human beings.
When Mark Sheppard was
approach them. Yeah, know when to approach them, when not to. And they're more than happy to have a conversation with you more often than not. And things like they have to charge.
Obscure thing they're in, they like it even more.
Bring up that stuff. Like if we get a chance to talk to Kevin Smith at FanX, I just need to let him know that I love Tusk, and I love Carrie, and I really enjoyed the film that his daughter and Johnny Depp's daughter in, that the name escapes me right now.
I know what you're talking about, but I haven't seen it. How much do
I actually love this movie, but I can't even remember the name.
You don't even know the name of the movie, asshole.
Yeah, but they're in the band and all that, and Johnny Depp's in it too. So I enjoy that movie, but I know he gets a lot of shit, so I hope to just be like, hey, I'm one of those 5 people that like this movie, which, by the way, there is a Tusk sequel in the works, allegedly. So if you've never seen that, Justin Long gets kidnapped and turned into a walrus, basically, is how to put it. It's like a very horror.
Did he get kidnapped in Die Hard 4?
Yeah, but it's so just talk to these people. I hope that we can run into some of these people like Vincent D'Onofrio. I'm not even pretend like I know how to say America Chavez's name, Kevin Smith, the Clerks crew, and things like that, and just thank them for making this stuff for our entertainment, for us to be able to come up here and talk. And and
the artists and vendors too.
That's the other thing is Artist Alley has some killer artists and creators. Do not skip over Artist Alley at any Comic-Con you go to.
Right. You're going to be walking by people whose artwork you've seen or
somewhere.
Read.
Yeah.
Well, and the vendors, you get a lot of, you quickly, I think, again, I've only been to the MegaCon one and the Arrowverse one. You quickly begin to realize which ones are the big companies because they're overpriced stuff, and it's the same stuff you find everywhere. And then there's like mom and pop places selling, really cool pizza platters that are, Ninja Turtles logos etched into them, and, custom collab shirts. Like I got a Blink-182 Epcot collab shirt, which cool. I wore to Epcot and got like multiple compliments on it because it says like Epcot 1982 because that's the year they opened, and it's like the rabbit, but it also looks like Figment. It's really cool. It was Motley Kingdom, I think. So you get to find all these small little businesses that are, pimping their products, and it's amazing stuff that you're not going to necessarily find elsewhere.
Right now, some of the people that we're going to see at FanX, there is John Eves, who is a concept artist. He's worked on Marvel. So he's done WandaVision, Loki, Homecoming. So he's done that. And then we have Rob Pryor, who's worked on the Arrowverse. So some of their concept artists, things like that, I want to talk to them. I can't wait to see them, just to be like,
I can't wait to see the baby.
Yeah. I mean, Rico Renzi, fun fact, he's an artist who has worked on She-Hulk. And then we have Joe Caroni. He's done Darth Vader and Mando and Boba and Ahsoka and stuff. So this is really cool. And then, of course, we have Thomas Estrada, who's worked on like The Prince of Egypt and Road to El Dorado. So I can't wait to talk to these people just as much as I can't wait to talk to the celebrities who actually do the acting and stuff, because it's so cool.
Yeah. Lots of supernatural people. You're going to have Felicia Day, which is actually interesting because there's a supernatural convention going on in Kansas that same weekend.
Yeah.
But there's still going to be a few. And like when I saw Baby at MegaCon, it didn't look exactly like a 1967 Chevy Impala. I don't think it was. I think they just did as much as they could to make it look like one. But the one that they have at this one, it specifically said it was a 1967 Chevy Impala, and it looks more like the one from the show. So I'm excited to see that.
Interesting. Well,
we do have some questions. I didn't think we did. We had some questions.
Oh, we do. Oh, hit us.
So Tracy said, if Jensen Ackles is there, what will you do?
I'll be there for you. I will freak out for you. Because I know you don't like to go up and ask people stuff. So I will freak out for you just to get that man over to talk to us.
Yeah, I don't think I would fangirl.
I'll do it for you.
I don't know what I would do, but I know he won't be there because he'll be at the Supernatural Con in Kansas.
Oh, we're at the wrong convention.
Know. See, I would want to have a conversation with him about beer.
Honestly, yeah.
Tracy also says, if I've never been to a con, what are first time tips? I think we kind of went over all those. Like, don't neglect the panels. Definitely check out the local vendors and the local artists.
Oh, yeah.
If it's your first time and you're doing one day, I recommend going from open to close because there's so much. Wear comfortable shoes.
Yes.
Have a bag for stuff. We kind of made that mistake this past year because the year before they gave us bags because we did like the VIP one. Mm-hmm. And if you are going to the Salt Lake one, I will have some bags that say Hops Geek Snooze that I will happily give you to buy stuff and put in there. But yeah, definitely comfortable shoes. I wouldn't waste time waiting outside panels because you want to maximize your time. And if you're sitting at the back of the auditorium versus the front of the auditorium, to me, that doesn't bother me.
It doesn't bother me either.
If I'm still in the room and I'm hearing this live and I'm hearing the interactions, and you can still get up and get in the line to ask a question if you want, most likely you're probably not going to get there depending on how crowded it is, but it doesn't matter where you're sitting.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah. I would recommend bringing cash because one of the issues we had at MegaCon was some of the people, their credit card things weren't working on their phones because everything's on the Wi-Fi. And because there's so many people in there, the Wi-Fi starts to not work well. And so we had one person literally be like, I can't take any more credit cards. And another person being like, I hope this goes through later. So bring cash just in case. But then, some places nowadays might not want to take cash, but you never know. And our last question is from What Are We Doing Pod? If you take one photo with a character and later found out it was the celeb who plays it. Wait, what?
Wait, what?
If you take one photo with a character and later found out it was the celeb who plays it. I don't think they finished the question.
Oh. Okay. Well, till next time.
Oh, I get what they're asking. If you take a photo with a character while walking around and then later you find out it was the celeb who plays it, but then it cuts it off. So I think it's probably like, what would you do? Like how Andrew Garfield has done that.
That would be awesome. Jack Quaid was walking around the Scream costume at San Diego Comic-Con.
There you go. And so, yeah, Andrew Garfield's done that in Spider-Man, and the guy from Breaking Bad did it.
Henry Cavill
Walter
has
White.
too.
That would be amazing.
I would just that would be great because then you can just like, hey, look, I really did meet him. See, here you go. That would be so sick. I don't know. That'd be dope.
That would be pretty cool. That'd be a hell of a story.
Yeah. Well, I don't have anything else. Do you have anything else?
Nope.
Well, I'm going to go watch Rings of Power. I've been waiting for this goddamn show for a long time. We will reconvene next week. In the meantime, folks, please go ahead, shout us out, subscribe, all that good stuff. Get ready for some good Comic-Con. I hope you learned a thing or two. And yeah, we will see you next week, my friends. Cheers.